Hey y'all, Rick Rex here, back with another one for you, and today we're continuing our look at the mental power set. Now we're going to concentrate on the ranged AOE DPS loadout this time, and as one of the oldest power sets in the game, this one still hits like a freight truck. So we're going to take a look at mods, artifacts, allies, skill points, the build, and the loadout, and of course we're going to take it out for a spin to see what kind of damage it can do. But first, if you like what you see and you want more, hit that like and subscribe button to help keep the channel growing and also to not miss one single update as they drop. Okay, so mental. As I said earlier, it's been around since the dawn of DCUO time. This power set has seen many changes over the years, but has always remained one of the stronger DPS power sets out there. Now I toyed with this power a lot, checking artifacts and allies and rolling through the powers with the different power interactions, or PIs, to find the thing that fits it best. And what I came back to was an old loadout that I've been running since stat revamp, and it still hits the best of the mental possibilities for a ranged loadout, and I have crushed many a damage boards with this loadout. So let's start out with our white mods as always. In our weapon, we're going replenishing adapter. This is a very power heavy loadout, and it's possible that you might run dry without a moderately good power troll behind you, so you want to keep every source of power back possible, from colas to supply drops to weapon taps if needed, to keep that power pool strong. And in our head, we're going supercharged bolt barrage. Now we're going bolt barrage really because of limited options, and overall it causes a larger burst of damage than Neo Venom boost. I'll leave it to y'all to use your best judgment here, as it really is a preference as to which way to go. But Neo Venom Boost and Bolt Barrage are really the only viable options with the power set. Now in our neck, we're going Escalating Might as always, and in our back, we're going Berserker. Now we don't have a cooldown problem with the loadout that we're going to use, so it's not necessary to mess with them, and honestly, extra damage ain't never a bad thing, y'all. Now in our chest, we're going Penetrating Strikes to take advantage of that NPC defense reduction. And in our legs, it's really your choice, as nothing's going to benefit us in this slot. Now in our feet, we're going Tumbling Master to keep us out of trouble, and with today's mechanics, you need to get out of the environment's way too many times to not use this. And in our hands, we're going Max Damage as always. Now for artifacts, we're using the Trans Strat Quiz combo. Transformation card for the extra crits that it provides, the Strategist card to leverage those crits and throw that innate damage, and Quiz for the normal damage that he provides, the extra 1% supercharge generation, and the extra supercharge damage that he gives us as well. Now for allies, we're using a bit of a shuffle from what we would normally go with. We're going Superman for his AOE damage, which hits really nice, Batman Who Laughs for his Luck of the Draw ability, and Cyborg for his power back. Now again, I emphasize that this is a really heavy power rotation which resembles Quantum's power consumption. So you need all the help that you can get to not run dry. So I really don't like leaning away from a damage buff, as you all know, but we have to leave Emperor Aquaman on the shelf for this power set. Now for the build, in our weapon, we aren't spending any points here, as we won't be using it unless there is a case of an emergency. And in your movement mode, you want to take your super, don't forget that y'all, and then one on the second row of your choosing, doesn't really matter which one, and then your innates, acrobatics to the lower right, and everyone else to the left. For iconics, we are only taking Robot Sidekick here, so nothing else is needed to make this one hum like the Philharmonic. And for skill points, we're going Superpowered Focus, max out your crit attack chance and crit attack damage, and then dump everything into Might and Power. Anything left over goes straight into health, because remember y'all, a dead DPS does no DPS. So for comparison's sake, this puts our might on this build at 176,500. And now for the star of the show, and that's the loadout. So we're using Mass Levitation, Telekinetic Bolt, Pyrokinesis, Mass Terror, and we're pairing that up with Robot Sidekick and Bolt Barrage. Now, we're going this way to take advantage of two different PIs, which is kind of funky, but it works out really well. We're using Mass Levitation for its nice hit and the PI of Dazed. And then our big hit that takes advantage of the Dazed PI is Telekinetic Bolt. Then we're dropping the Terrified PI with Pyrokinesis, and that gives us multiple hits, which is always nice for that crit and getting that strike card to proc. And then another big hit comes from Mass Terror that leverages the Terrified PI. So our rotation is really simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now that we have all of that out of the way, let's check out what kind of damage this thing can put out. Okay, great work. So we'll start with the bad and work our way up from there. We have two parses here where I missed the amount of hits mixed in there, and Mass Lev tends to move you forward a little bit, so I was constantly trying to jump back, which won't really be an issue in normal content as we will have enough distance for this to not really matter. And fights honestly don't tend to last that long without movement around you required anyways, so no big deal. But those lower hits came in at 195, 527. From there, we skyrocketed up all the way to 246,380 damage per second for the high. Now we did have several spikes there that put us at that 240,000 plus range in damage per second, which is really nice, and the loadout tends to live in or average out to that upper 220,000 per second range. So I love it. But even though this one hits as nicely as it does, it's time for my favorite part. Let's drop everything. Okay, awesome. So our big hit comes in at 2,310,182 damage per second. And for those of y'all sitting in the back, that's over 23 million in damage in 10 seconds. You want to melt some ads? This is the way. So we followed that up with several in the 250,000 range, and then it spiked all the way up to the 280,000 range before leveling off to that normalized 241,000. I love it. Well, y'all, that wraps up Mental's AOE DPS range loadout. Thanks y'all for joining, and this one was super fun. So once again, if you like what you see and you want more, hit that like and subscribe button to help keep the channel growing and also to not miss one single update as they drop. I'll see y'all next time.